Right. Hello, everyone. Good evening. My name's Nicole, and welcome back to another English class with us. I hope you all had a great Easter Monday and got some time to relax. Today we are continuing we are with our series on conversational English, and our focus will be on small talk pronunciation or small talks. Okay, let's get started immediately. Now, small talk. This is another key area, as I've mentioned, in conversational English. Small talk is the light and informal conversation where we use to pass the time, where we use to prevent awkward silence, and where we used to have to build rapport, like talking about the weather or asking about someone's weekend. That is small talk. So the pronunciation here, it involves not just the individual words but also the intonation, the rise and fall of our voice. That's intonation, which can really affect how friendly and natural we sound, because one particular phrase or one particular sentence can be deciphered, can mean differently depending on how we say it. That's what this means. So small talks. With small talks, there are tips that I've included, very easy ones. So, sorry, all right. When making, small talks, there are a few key tips to keep in mind. First, ask open-ended questions, ones that cannot be answered with just yes or no, so that the conversation will keep going. Second, listen carefully. People can tell when you are really listening, so listen carefully so that it makes you're a listener, it makes the other person, or it makes the person you are talking to really want really want to keep talking. They want to really share something with you. Third, expect to learn or be entertained. So go in with, a positive mindset. You expect to learn something to someone from someone, or even be entertained by someone. Also, try to share, details, provide details, share information, not just, short answers. If someone asks how your weekend was, give a little, story, give a little detail with it, not just, oh, good, I'm fine. My week's fine, something like that. Be specific, don't be too general. And lastly, avoid conversation killers. Avoid conversation killers. So these conversation killers would include things like one word answers, changing the topic too fast. Changing the topic is not always not good. It's okay as long as you do not change it too fast and you change it properly at the proper specific time. So you do not do that. You also don't, avoid you should also avoid checking your phone while someone's talking, because it kind of disrespectful in a way that you are showing you do not really want to listen to the person talking to you. That's disrespectful even to me. I don't want someone, or yeah, I don't want someone I am talking to, I'm sharing something to, not really listening to me carefully, not really lending their ears to me fully. I don't want that, because I am sharing something to you. I want you to listen to me as much as possible, because I am doing that to you when you are the one speaking. So it's just, to show, a little bit of respect, that you're really how do you call it, not motivated, but like some kind of motivated. You're really let's just use motivated. You're really motivated to hear the other person. You're totally okay with listening to other person. Anyway, those are small talk tips that I've provided. These are we have, yeah, there's one. All right, wait for a while, for a moment. I okay. So these are some of, the great topics for small talk. They are light, they are easy to talk about, and they help you get to know someone better. So with small talks, you can ask about the other person's weekend plans, what they're watching or what they're reading, or even what they like to cook or what they like to eat. And people usually enjoy talking about hobbies, about music or travel. If you are kind of stuck, you can always talk about as simple as weather or what's popular lately, like what's a new trend, or um maybe what's their favorite place in the city. Just, any kind of topic will do, as long as you keep it friendly and you keep it curious. But yeah, despite all these topics, since we are talking about small talk conversation where it's light, it's informal, it's something we do when we want to know something from someone we are not that familiar with, um, that is on small talk topics. So these are the topics that we can use. There are many more, but there are also topics. There are also um, topics that are controversial or sensitive that we need to avoid, even with small talks, or especially with small talks with um, someone we are not totally familiar with, or even with someone we are familiar with. So let's talk about conversation boundaries when we doing small talks. So it is important to, be mindful of topics that might be considered controversial or too personal. So here are some topics that we should avoid discussing. We should avoid putting a topic on. Yeah, that one. So especially with, people we don't know very well. First, money or salaries. You ask how much someone earns, which can feel intrusive to them. That is not good. So we don't do that. Health issues. This can be very personal and sensitive because we don't know what kind of health issue, or what it depends what kind of health issue the other person is having, and we don't want to ask that health issue because it's very personal, it's very sensitive, unless the other person is the first one who open up on it. All right. There's also religion. Now, people have different beliefs. We all have different beliefs, and as much as possible, it is really best to avoid talking about digging about religion, so that any kind of misunderstanding will really not happen. All right, you can avoid of being offensive to the particular religion, or you can avoid debates. Sometimes people just do that. So we as much as possible, we try to avoid that. There's also physical appearance. Yeah, the body itself. Well, we are not talking about like what the person wear. That's totally fine. We can talk about that. Like, wow, your outfit today is good. Your outfit today is amazing. You can do that. But for the physical appearance itself, especially if you're trying to say something negative, you don't do that, especially in small talks. All right? Because physical appearance isn't something that we can really change easily. We cannot alter easily. And the other person knows better what his or her physical appearance is. And we don't. And they don't need, especially if they don't ask for our opinion, they most likely don't need our opinion on their physical appearances. And even compliments can sometimes make others uncomfortable. So as much as possible, we don't really dig deeper at the physical appearance of a person. Next, personal relationships. So this includes topics about dating, marriage, or breakups, or divorce, something like that. So those are private matters. Negative news or tragedies. These are topics it's not good it's not a good small talk conversation topic because you know, negative news or tragedies, these topics can bring down the mood of the other person, or it can be upsetting to them. And we don't want them to be upset. We don't want them to have that kind of mood as much as possible. So let's try to avoid that. Lastly, we have stereotypes or jokes about race, gender, or culture. This is very obvious one. We don't do this obviously. These are never appropriate, and it can cause harm or offense. If you try to do that, don't do this, all right? So, when you are getting to know someone, or maybe you have gone through this particular person a few times already, but still you're not that close, and you are still not that close, or even with persons that you already know or you already gotten close to, it is not recommended to use the topics on your screen. All right. So it is, especially when you're getting to know someone, it is really safer to stick to neutral topics, like I've mentioned earlier, in habits, travel, food. Let's just stick on those topics. These ones. Let's just stick on these topics. That one. Let's just stick on those topics. All right. There's so many topics. Let's try to focus on these ones. We don't focus on those that we need to avoid, so that we come off as respectful and thoughtful, because these things, it will help build positive communication. All right. Okay. Let's have. Okay. Before we officially move on with the small talk already. During the discussion, small talk have three parts. We'll focus on phrases or sentences for small talk. First on initiation, like the conversation starters, maintaining or carrying, the small talk ending. Those three. We'll focus on that. Of course, we'll start with small talk initiation. Are you ready? Everybody ready? Everybody following so far? We are on small talk conversation. Small talk pronunciation. Alright, let's get started with small talk initiation. So let's look at how we usually start these light and easy small talk conversations. Now, in small talk initiation, we can start the conversation by greetings. So these greetings are your first steps in connecting with someone without really getting into anything too serious right away. So some examples here, the very basic ones, especially the first one: good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. So yeah, this is a generally polite way to start, and it works in most situations. It's a little more formal than the other phrases or other sentences here in the table. But these phrases are very common. It is very common to us. We usually say it a lot of times in a day. So it's not really that formal. We don't really find it too formal anymore. It's just part of our day already. It's common, something like that. Although it's formal, but it's common. So of course you adjust it to the time of day. You say good morning when it's morning, afternoon when it's afternoon, and of course good evening when it's evening. All right. Next, how are you? How are you? Again, how are you? Super common. This is your everyday go-to greetings. People usually expect a short answer. Here, applied one. Sometimes, like, how are you? Fine, thanks. And you? Something like that. So it keeps things light and friendly. Next, we have a specific example here. There's a name. Hey, Mark, it's good to see you. Again, hey, Mark, it's good to see you. One more time, read and listen to how I say the sentence. Hey, Mark, it's good to see you. It's good to see you. All right. This one's for when you already know the person's name. That's why there's a name here. Hey is more informal than hello. So it's good for colleagues, for classmates, for people you see regularly. So you can use their name so that it it will make them feel personal, more warm, more close to their heart. All right. Next, another with name. Ken, nice to meet you. Ken, pleasure to meet you. All right, one more time. Ken, nice to meet you. Ken, pleasure to meet you. All right, so this is what you say when you are being introduced to someone new. Both nice and pleasure work. Nice is probably a tiny bit more casual, so we tend to hear Ken, nice to meet you. That's a very common that's a very common phrase rather than pleasure to meet you. But yeah, I still include it because they're just another option that you can use when you mean something as nice to meet you, pleasure to meet you. Just another, options. It's good that we have many options. Anyway, next. Hi, I don't think we've met. My name is. All right, say your name. So here, this is a polite and clear way to introduce yourself, especially if you don't recognize someone and that someone does not recognize you. So it is straightforward, still friendly, and it is perfect for breaking the ice because it is what we're talking about right now, small talk initiation and greeting. This is conversation starter. So when we start a conversation, there are times that we introduce ourselves, especially for people that that doesn't know us, that are not familiar with us. All right. Lastly, we have here, hi, you are from your address, aren't you? Again, hi, you are from, aren't you? So this is a way to try and connect with someone. So if you think you recognize them from somewhere, it's informal and it's a way to find something in common quickly. Just be ready if they say no. Of course, that's a normal response because you're asking for their address. And just be ready if they say no. Try to maintain the conversation as much as possible. All right. Let's read it one more time, all the phrases for greeting. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. How are you? Hey, Mark, it's good to see you. Ken, nice to meet you. Ken, pleasure to meet you. Hi, I don't think we've met. My name is. Hi, you are from, aren't you? All right. Let's move on to the next one. Another great way to start a light and easy conversation is by offering a sincere compliment. It can make the other person feel good and, create a positive opening. Now remember, keep it genuine and appropriate for the situation. All right. First sentence here is we compliment the other person, by saying, that's such an interesting point. That's such an interesting point. Not interesting, but interesting. We try to say the first few syllables very quickly because this is small talk initiation. This is casual conversation. We don't really necessarily separate all syllables. Say each syllable very clearly. So that's such an interesting point. Again, that's such an interesting point. So you use this when someone has just said something insightful or something thought provoking during a discussion, for instance, because when you compliment someone that way, it shows that you were listening and you appreciate their contribution. It's a nice way, to connect intellectually in a light way. Next, you did a great job on the project. You did a great job on the project. So this is perfect for a work or a school setting. It acknowledges the other person's effort and the other person's, success in their specific task. It is positive and It is also work related, can be, and you can keep it professionally but still friendly. All right, you did a great job on that project. Emphasis in the word project is on the first syllable. Project. All right. Next, that was a really nice presentation you did earlier. That was a really nice presentation you did earlier. Emphasis on the word nice. That was a really nice presentation you did earlier. Now, similar to the project compliment, the second one, this is specifically for a presentation. It shows that you paid attention and you appreciated the other person's work. And it's another good way to connect after sharing experiences, for example. All right. Fourth, you handled that situation very well, really well. You handled that situation really well. So you use this when someone has navigated a challenging situation or task with confidence, with grace, with skill. So it acknowledges their abilities, and it can lead to a brief positive exchange also. You handled the situation very well, really well. Again, you handled the situation really well. Next, you have such a positive energy. Positive. Emphasis in the first syllable for the word positive. You have such a positive energy. Again, you have such a positive energy. So this is a more personal compliment. It focuses on their general demeanor. So it's a nice way to acknowledge someone's good vibes and can create a friendly atmosphere. So you use this when you want to acknowledge you or set this the other person, or you want to have a bit of a rapport already. All right. Lastly, that color looks really good on you. That color looks really good on you. So this is a compliment on their appearance, but not totally on, which is totally okay. I've mentioned about avoiding controversial or sensitive topics, and one of which is physical appearance, right? Now I'm talking about the body itself, but this does not include what we are wearing. So it's still an appearance, but not totally physical appearance. So that's good. It's okay. It's totally fine to talk about those things. So yes, it's more an appearance. You keep it light and focused on something like clothing or an accessory. Don't focus on their body. It's a simple and often, well received way to start a casual interaction. That color looks really good in you. One more time for these set compliment phrases or sentences for small talk initiation. That's such an interesting point. You did a great job on the project. That was a really nice presentation you did earlier. You handled the situation very well, really well. You handled the situation really well. You have such a positive energy. That color looks really good on you. All right. Next. Okay, there's another way to start, small talks or conversation, and that is we find something in common, or we find something in the surrounding, or we find something in the situation. So, you try to notice something you share with the other person, or you can comment the immediate environment that you or situation that you're experiencing right now. So this immediately can create a connection and can give you a natural starting point. It shows you are observant and that you are friendly. All right, these are the phrases that you can use for this one. First, pretty nice day, huh? Pretty nice day, huh? All right, this is a really common one. It is simple, it is agreeable usually, and a safe way to start talking to almost anyone when the weather is pleasant. It invites you a short positive response. Pretty nice day, huh? Next, can you believe all this rain we are having? Can you believe all this rain we are having? Now, this is the opposite of the first one. When the weather is noticeable, like heavy rain, it is still a shared experience, right? It is a shared experience and an easy conversation starter. So here it often leads to commiseration or a brief comment about it. Can you believe all this rain we are having? Next, looks like it's going to be fried rice for lunch. Looks like it's going to be fried rice for lunch. So this works well in a shared setting where you can both see something related to the situation, because again this is specific. This is a specific phrase. So maybe this can be done in a cafeteria or at a catered event, something like that. So it's a casual observation that can lead to a comment about food preferences. Next, first time in New York or other location, for perhaps first time in New York. So you use this when you suspect someone might be new to a place that you are kind of both in, like a city, conference, or maybe a class, as simple as a class. So it's a friendly way to offer help or share your own experience. First time in New York? All right. Next, last, finally, the food here is really good, isn't it? The food here is really good, isn't it? So this is great when you are sharing a meal or are in place known for its food. It invites it invites agreement and can lead to a discussion about favorite dishes or recommendation, which is a great way, which is a great starter, conversation starter. All right, let's read all these phrases again. Pretty nice day, huh? Can you believe all this rain we are having? Looks like it's going to be fried rice for lunch. First time in New York? The food here is really good, isn't it? All right. Next, this is the final way to do small talk initiation, and that is you ask for help or you ask for question. As simple as that. This is a very natural way to interact, especially if you are genuinely really in need of something, and it can also need or like it can also lead a bit more conversation afterwards. So just remember to be polite and not too demanding. All right, let's have the first phrase here. Excuse me, could you tell me? And then you give your request. Again, excuse me, could you tell me? Then your request. So this is a polite and standard way to ask for information, for instance. So it's good when you need directions, as simple as directions, when you ask for time or some other simple piece of information. The phrase excuse me is, that is a key for politeness. All right. Next, I'm sorry to bother you. I was wondering. All right. Again, I'm sorry to bother you. I was wondering. All right. So this is a more apologetic. Sorry. This is more apologetic way to ask a question, especially if the person looks busy, but you really need to gather specific information from that person. So of course, you try to apologize first, and then you follow it up with asking what you want, asking the information that you want to have. So it it will come off as you showing consideration for their time. The I was wondering, it softens the request. All right. Next, hi, could I ask you a quick question? Hi, could I ask you a quick question? So this is a direct but still polite way to preface a question. It signals that you won't take up much of their time, and that quick here, of course, that's the clue. Quick is the important word here. Lastly, hello, I'm new here and I just wanted to ask, and then your question. Hello, I'm new here and I just wanted to ask, and then your question. So this is perfect when you are in a new place or in a new situation, because it explains why you might need help and you invite the other person to offer assistance. It's a good way, to connect with someone who might be familiar with the environment unlike you. Let's read all these phrases again. Excuse me, could you tell me? I'm sorry to bother you, I was wondering. Hi, could I ask you for a quick question? Hello, I'm new here and I just want to ask. All right. So those again are ways to create to start a conversation. For small talk initiation, it could be, let's have the first one. We can use greeting, compliment, something you have in common, something you see in the surrounding or the situation, and when you want to ask for help or a question. You can use those four um, areas, right? Those four the phrases under those four areas. You can use those ones. All right. To check if you are following after me, let's have a practice drill. It's time to practice. It's very easy. Um, I'm just gonna give you how do you call that, specific situation, and then we try to read. We try to say the possible responses to that particular situations. Are we all ready? So you just need to say the phrases or the sentences with me, as easy as that. You can do it on your own, right? So let's start immediately with the first one. You are meeting a cousin's friend named Sarah for the first time. Again, you are meeting a cousin's friend named Sarah for the first time. Possible, from the many possibilities, you can say, "Hi, I don't think we've met. My name is," say your name. This is a clear way to introduce yourself when you know you haven't met someone before. It's very direct, it's very friendly, still very friendly, direct but friendly. Next, Sarah, nice to meet you. Sarah, pleasure to meet you. Since you know her name is Sarah, your cousin likely told you, you can use her name directly, followed by nice to meet you or pleasure to meet you. Both are polite and welcoming. Next situation. You notice your colleague Mark is wearing a new watch that you like. Okay, what can you do? What can you say? What can you use as a conversation starter? You can say, "Hey, Mark, that's a pretty nice watch you got on." So this is a casual and direct compliment. You can use, "Hey, Mark." That's what keeps it informal since he's your colleague. And pretty nice watch is a simple and positive observation. Next, another one is, "Mark, is that new Rolex? Looks really nice." Mark, is that new Rolex? Looks really nice. So this option is more specific. If you recognize the brand Rolex in this example, it shows you have some knowledge about watches and makes the compliment a bit more engaging. So looks really nice. It keeps it positive and light. Last scenario, you are both waiting for the event to start and the weather outside is very sunny. All right, imagine that situation. A couple of good options from our list is pretty nice day, huh? Pretty nice day, huh? This is a very simple and common way to acknowledge the pleasant weather. It is light, it is agreeable, and doesn't really require a long answer, so it is a safe and easy way to connect with someone. Next, it's such a sunny day. It's such a sunny day. This is slightly more enthusiastic observation about the weather. So it's positive and can also be a natural opener. You might say this with a smile, you like sharing your positive feeling about the sunshine. Something like that. All right. Those are different situations. Very good, everyone. That's good that you're keeping up with me. So that's the end of the practice drill for the first for small talk initiation. And with that, let's continue with maintaining or carrying. Again, let's continue with maintaining or carrying. Let's for that okay. All right, everyone, here. Now that we know how to start a light conversation, let's look at ways to keep it going. It's also important that after you start a conversation, you somehow be able to keep it going and show the other person that we are really listening to them. So one way to do this is using rejoinders, which are short, often emotional responses that help maintain the flow and show your interest. So more like a fillers. Remember, again, the tone you use with these is really important because it tells the other person how you are reacting. Tone is very important. No matter how much words you included in your sentence, in your spoken English, if it is not done with an enthusiastic tone or the tone that you are aiming to come off, it will sound different. All right, let's have the first one. Oh, wow. Again, oh, wow. Very simple. So this can show surprise, mild interest, or even admiration. It depends on how you say it, really. A soft, oh, wow, shows you're listening. Oh, wow. It shows you're listening. While a more emphatic, oh, wow, it shows you are surprised. Next, really? Really? So a very simple one word only, right? It's a very simple way to show you are listening and perhaps a little surprised, or you want to hear more from the one you are listening. So your intonation can make it sound, genuinely curious or slightly disbelieving. Really? All right. Next, no way. Are you serious? So this expresses stronger surprise or disbelief. You use it when someone tells you something unexpected. No way. Are you serious? You're kidding, right? That's the next one. You are kidding, right? It is similar to the third one, no way, but often it's a bit more playful, or it is used when something seems hard to believe but maybe not negative, right? You're kidding, right? All right. Next, we have here, that's great, or that's amazing, or that's terrible, or that's too bad. So these are direct emotional responses. You choose the word that fits with what the other person has said, and then your tone will emphasize the positive or negative feeling. So you would sound like this. That's great. That's positive. That's amazing. That's positive. That's terrible. That's negative. That's too bad. That's negative. All right. Next, I'm glad. I'm glad. Sorry. Let me edit this one for a moment. I'm glad or I'm sorry to hear that. I'm glad or I'm sorry to hear that. This again, it shows empathy. You use I'm glad for good news and you use I'm sorry for bad news. So you keep your tone sincere here, everyone. Next, that's insane, or that's crazy, or that's wild, that's nuts, that's unbelievable. So these phrases, it expresses strong surprise, or that something is very unusual, or that something, you use them for dramatic or unexpected stories. It keeps your tone appropriate for the context. All right. Okay. That's the first one for maintaining or carrying. I'm sorry. Carrying. Let's have the next one. But before that, let me check my screen. All right. Okay. Okay. Next one is asking for more details or clarification. To keep it going in a light and engaging way, it is also important to show that you're really listening and want to know more. So these phrases, it will help you ask for more details or, want to clarify something the other person has said. Remember, again, everyone, a curious and interested tone is the key here. All right. First one, so you mean to tell me? You use this to, kind of gently confirm something. So you mean to tell me? All right. Next, so let me get this straight. It's similar to the previous one. You use this to ensure you have understood something correctly. So let me get this straight. Next, so you are saying that, similar to the other ones. So what happened next? A great way to encourage someone to kind of like continue telling a story they're explaining. Next, so what are you going to do? So what are you going to do? Use this to inquire about future plans or actions from someone that is related to what they have been talking about. So what are you going to do? Next, so what's next? Similar to the previous one. What's next? So what do you think? So this invites the other person's opinion or perspective on the spot. What do you think? Okay, you gotta tell me more. You gotta tell me more. It is a more informal and enthusiastic way to ask for more details, especially if they have said something intriguing. Interesting. Okay, you gotta tell me more. Next, what exactly do you mean by? What exactly do you mean by? So you use this when you need clarification on a specific word or phrase that the other person has used. Keep your tone polite again, everyone. What exactly do you mean by? Next, can you elaborate on that? Again, can you elaborate on that? This is more. This is a little bit formal way of asking more details, but still it shows that you're interested in a fuller explanation. Can you elaborate on that? Lastly, you have to fill me in on the details. Again, you have to fill me in on the details. This is a more informal and playful way to ask for more information, which is often used when you feel like you are missing part of the story. You have to fill me in on the details. Again, you have to fill me in on the details. Now, these phrases, let's read it one more time. So you mean to tell me, so let me get this straight. So are you saying that? So what happened next? So what are you going to do? What's next? What do you think? Okay, you gotta tell me more. What exactly do you mean by? Can you elaborate on that? You have to fill me in on the details. All right, let's have the next one. I think this is the last one. You can maintain or carry the topic, the conversation itself by changing the topic. You can use the phrases on your screen. Now, changing the topic, I mentioned earlier that changing the topic can really be okay, but see to it that it's proper at that particular time, because we really cannot avoid that there are times, there are times that it happens when the conversation naturally slows down, or you try to change the topic to keep the conversation going. All right, you can use the phrase "by the way." By the way, so it's a very common and versatile way to introduce a new, of a slightly related topic. So it signals, more of a shift without being too sudden. By the way, anyway, you use this to gently steer the conversation away from a previous point. Anyway, you use also this to introduce something. Oh, I almost forgot. Oh, I almost forgot. This phrase works really well when you suddenly remember something you wanted to mention that might be related or just something you want to share. Oh, I almost forgot. Before I forget, it's similar to the third one, the previous one. You want to emphasize something before the current topic goes too far. It's a little off topic, but again, it's a little off topic, but so you use this to acknowledge that you are changing the subject slightly, but still want to share something. So you want the other person to be prepared for the shift. It's a little off topic, but next, on the brighter news. So this is a good way to shift also, change the topic from a negative to a neutral topic, for instance, or to something positive, more positive. It is a way to, inject some optimism into the conversation on the brighter news. And lastly, guess what? Again, guess what? This is an informal way to introduce something new, and it is often exciting or surprising since it invites the other person to be curious and to be engaged. Guess what? Again, guess what? All right. For maintaining or carrying, there are three ways that we can do. We can use phrases for rejoinders, like surprise, positive, or negative. We can also use phrases that ask for more details or clarifications, and we can even use phrases that signifies changing a topic or shifting a topic. All right, that's for maintaining or carrying. Let's immediately have the practice drill. It is time to practice. All right. Same pattern, same process. There's a situation, and I've also already provided the possible responses. And what I'm going to ask you is just to repeat these phrases, these responses with me on your own there. I trust you that you're following with me, that you will do what I asked you. All right, let's have the first situation. Now, there is here person A. She says, I finally finished that really long book I was reading. Few responses that you can do. Oh, wow, that's great. Again, oh, wow, that's great. This is a positive rejoinder, to show your positive reaction to their news. It's simple and it's encouraging response. It's an encouraging response. Next, so what did you think of it? So what did you think of it? This phrase this phrase can show asking for more details. So what did you think of it? It shows you're interested in their experience and encourages them to continue talking about the book. So what did you think of it? All right. Next. My flight was delayed for 6 hours yesterday. Again, my flight was delayed for 6 hours yesterday. One possible response for that is, no way, are you serious? Again, no way, are you serious? One more time, no way, are you serious? What happened? So this uses a rejoinder to express surprise and disbelief at the situation. No way, are you serious? There's also immediate follow-up with question, what happened? To encourage them to elaborate, to ask for details. Another way is, really? That's terrible. Really? That's terrible. So this uses a rejoinder again to show empathy and to acknowledge that their experience was really negative. It's a simple way to connect emotionally with the other person who is sharing that her flight was delayed for 6 hours yesterday. All right. Next situation, my dog learned a new trick this morning. Someone says that to you. My dog learned a new trick this morning. What can you say in response? Okay, you gotta tell me more. Again, okay, you gotta tell me more. So this phrase, it signifies that you're asking for details, for more details. It shows only that you are really interested in hearing about the new trick. It encourages the other person to share the details. Another way you can respond to this is, oh, wow, really? That's great. Oh, wow, really? That's great. So this combines a rejoinder to show surprise in positive emotion. Oh, wow, really? That's great. All right. This is a positive comment. And that is for maintaining or carrying. That's the second out of three. Focus on small talks, conversations. We've already talked about small talk initiation, conversation starters, and then maintaining or carrying, or the phrases that will keep the conversation going. Now, let's solve the small talk ending. It is important to end our conversation politely and leave the other person with a good feeling. So this is the responsibility of the phrases under small talk ending. So one example of that is pleasantry phrases, which are perfect for this. They are simple, they are sincere ways to signal the end of the chat while being friendly. First sentence here or phrase is, it was really nice talking to you. Again, it was really nice talking to you. So this is a very common and general way to end a conversation. It is polite and it expresses that you enjoy the interaction. All right. It was really nice talking to you. Again, it was really nice talking to you. All right. Next we have, thanks for the chat. Thanks for the chat. I really enjoyed it. Again, thanks for the chat. I really enjoyed it. So this is slightly more direct. especially in expressing your enjoyment and your thanks to the other person for their time, I guess, or for their participation. Thanks for the chat. I really enjoyed it. Next, glad we get to talk. Glad we get to talk. This is a shorter and more casual way to express that you are happy you had the opportunity to speak to this person. Glad we got to talk. One more time. Glad we got to talk. All right. Next, it was great meeting you. Again, it was great meeting you. So you use this when you are ending a conversation with someone you have just met. It is polite and it is positive. It was great meeting you. Again, it was great meeting you. Next, I really enjoyed our conversation. I really enjoyed our conversation. So this is similar to it was really nice talking to you, the first one, the first sentence. But here it emphasizes the enjoyment of the content of the conversation. You're really focusing or emphasizing that you really enjoy the conversation itself. All right. All right, everyone. Sometimes when you're having a nice light conversation, you might want to suggest continuing it in another time. And that's where the next small talk ending type comes in play. That is future meetup phrases, which are great for keeping the connection going without making a firm commitment right now. So they're casual, they're open ended. Say, for example, the first one, let's grab lunch or dinner sometime. Let's grab lunch sometime. Let's grab dinner sometime. So this is a common and informal way to suggest, getting together for a meal in the future. Sometime here it keeps the time flexible and doesn't require immediate planning. Next, I'll talk to you later. I'll talk to you later. This is a very general, also casual way to say goodbye with the intention of speaking again at some point. Next, I'll get up with you later. Again, I'll get up with you later. So this is a slightly more informal variation of I'll talk to you later. Get up with means contact or connect with. Next, hit me up later. Hit me up later. This is a very informal and casual way to say contact me later. Hit me up later or contact me later. So this is usually used between people who are comfortable with each other, texting in a more laid back or relaxed style of communication. Or is it? Hit me up later. Where is it? Yeah. Hit me up later. Again, hit me up later. All right. Next, let's continue the conversation over dinner sometime. Just the same with the first one. Let's grab dinner sometime. This is just a longer version to that. Yeah, you still suggest lunch or you still suggest dinner, right? So let's continue the conversation over dinner sometime. The difference here is that you specifically proposes continuing the current conversation at a future meal. Unlike the first sentence, let's grab dinner sometime, which is not really limiting your possible conversation when you meet up again to the conversation that you're having right now. All right. Okay. All right, everyone. Next, let's read those phrases or sentences again. Let's grab lunch or dinner sometime. I'll talk to you later. I'll get up with you later. Hit me up later. Let's continue the conversation over dinner sometime. All right, future meetup. Those are phrases for future meetup. Another way is the excuse phrases. I think this is excuse phrases. I'm sorry, I think I haven't had the time to. I wasn't able to see if I did it correctly. But yeah, this is when you try to excuse yourself politely and clearly, so that the other person understands that you really need to go and that they respect that, or they respect your time. One phrase or sentence that you can use is I have to get back to work. I have to get back to work. This is a common and understandable excuse in a work setting, as it clearly states your reason for ending the conversation. I have to get back to work. To work, that's a reason. Next, I need to get going. I need to get going. This is general, this is polite way to say you need to leave. It doesn't really specify a reason, but it is widely understood. I need to get going. Next, I need to make a call. Again, I need to make a call. This is specific. It is oftentimes sensitive, especially that the reason for ending the conversation is making a call. So there's another thing that he or she needs to do. Next, I have something I gotta do. I have something I gotta do. This is a more informal way of saying you have an obligation. Now, the word here, this one, gata, this is a contraction for got to. More informal way to say got to. Gata. Lastly, I'm kind of in a hurry. I'm kind of in a hurry. This indicates that you need to leave relatively quickly without necessarily specifying the reason. I'm kind of in a hurry. Alright. For excuse phrases in small talk ending, I have to get back to work. Sorry for that. I need to get going. I need to make a call. I have something I gotta do. I'm kind of in a hurry. Alright. Let's have the practice drill. It's time to practice. Same pattern, same process. Now here, person A and person B is already provided. Let's start with the first situation. Person A says, it was so interesting hearing about your hobbies. Now person B here, she wants to end the conversation politely. She can say, first, I'm sorry, but I have to get back to work now. I'm sorry, but I have to get back to work now. Another way she could say this is, or she could respond to this is, I need to get going actually. I need to get going actually. So this is a more general but still polite way to say you need to leave. The actually word here, it can soften the ending a little. Alright. Next situation. Person A says, maybe we could chat again soon. Maybe we could chat again soon. Person B here is open to future conversation. So as a response to that, you can say, definitely, let's grab lunch sometime. Definitely, let's grab lunch sometime. This is more enthusiastic and more specific suggestion for a future casual get-together. So sometime here, it keeps the time flexible and it doesn't require immediate planning. Next, another response that you can use is, I'll talk to you later. I'll talk to you later. This is a more general but still positive way to agree to future conversation. It is very simple. It is very common way to say goodbye with the expectation of speaking again. I'll talk to you later. Next situation, person A says, I'm glad we finally had a chance to talk. Person B in response wants to, also enjoy the wants to say that she also enjoyed the conversation. What can she say? In response to that, she can say, it was great meeting you. It was great meeting you. So this is a positive way to end the conversation, especially if you have just met this person. It reinforces the positive first impression because, again, first impression really matters. Next, it was really nice talking to you. She can also say that. It was really nice talking to you. This is still a general and friendly way to express that you enjoy the conversation you are having or you had with the other person, regardless of whether you have just met with that person or you already know the person. It was really nice talking to you. All right. Thank you so much, everyone. For your active participation in our drills, and I can see that you are really putting your effort this time into learning the particular phrases that you can use to end your conversations. Again, we've talked about small talk, we identified its three parts. Small talk initiation, that's the first one. That's the conversation starters. We had phrases here that we use for conversation starters. Second, the middle part, the maintaining or carrying, those phrases that will allow you to keep the conversation going, like asking for details and such. And lastly, we have small talk ending. These are for ending. As the name implies, these are for ending the conversation in a more polite way. All right. To really practice, to really practice your learning on the small talk, I prepared just two scenarios to practice practice those different phrases under different parts of small talk, either small talk initiation, maintaining or carrying, or small talk ending. I've already combined all three on this particular scene. Let me read it for you, and then let's have a conversation later. All right. Scenario 1, waiting in line at a coffee shop. Very simple. Waiting in line at a coffee shop. All right. Person A says, looks like it's going to be a bit of a wait, huh? This place is always so popular. Person B respond, really? I'm surprised. I usually come on weekdays and it's not this crowded. Definitely. Do you come here often for their coffee or do you get food too? I usually get their lattes. They are the best. Oh, it looks like my order's ready. Oh, great. Well, it was nice chatting with you. Enjoy your latte. All right. Very simple. Very simple conversations, because that's what small talk is. It's small talk is small. Obviously, it is quick, but it's a nice way to chat with someone. It's a nice way to know the other person. So you can try practicing this on your own. You can maybe have the role of person A and try to imagine me having the role of person B, or vice versa. I'm the person A and you are the person B. All right? All right. Okay. So based on the conversation, it's very easy to notice that the entire conversation is just very light and it's just very easy. You don't really need to use that much of thinking, that much of knowledge that you gained for answering the questions or for maintaining or carrying the conversations. Because the topic is, very relevant, very easy. It's as simple as about the coffee shop itself, the waiting in the line at the coffee shop. All right, everyone, here's another example. This is the last one, I think. This is a brief small talk conversation also at a park. You notice someone with a dog. All right, that's a really cute dog. What kind is he? Thanks, he's a golden retriever. His name is Max. Oh wow, he looks so friendly. How old is he? He's about 2 years old. Well, we should probably get going. He needs his walk. Okay, no problem. It was nice meeting you and Max. Have a good walk. Very simple, very easy, very quick conversation. So person A really is the one who initiated the conversation by giving a compliment. All right. Very easy conversation. So you can notice that this conversation is also light. It is also easy, as I've mentioned. The topic is very positive. Person A complimented the dog that it is cute. The language here that is used or utilized is very simple also. And then the ending is natural and polite. So this shows how small talk can be a pleasant, short interaction based on a shared observation. So that's how you can try to talk with a stranger, right? You use use the knowledge that you have on small talk. All right, I think that's the Yeah, that is the last of our topic. That is the last slide for our session today. Again, we've talked on, or we've for today, we have focused on small talk pronunciation for conversational English. So far, for our series on conversational English, we've already talked about pronunciation of casual phrases. That's previous session. And then we've also talked about small talk pronunciation on today's session. There's more that we can learn from conversational English. These three left: pronunciation for socializing vocabulary, expressing opinions clearly, and pronouncing questions and directions. There's more, so just, just be there, everyone, and attend the future sessions with me on this series of conversational English. All right, that's it for today. We have covered some easy and natural ways to start a conversation. Just simple greetings and small talk that will help you connect with others in a friendly way. Remember again, small talk does not really need to be perfect since it's casual, it's conversational. It just needs to be relaxed and real, more natural. And a smile and a friendly hi, how are you, can really go a long way. Thanks for joining today, everyone. Great job at practicing. Don't forget to practice also these phrases on your own, because consistent practice can really help you to sound more natural and confident when you speak English. See you next time, and take care and have a great night ahead. Bye bye.